Washington, D.C. was founded July 16, 1790, named after President George Washington.
The U.S. government was in the process of creating an empire to connect the North and the South. A centralized location for the capital was needed. Pennsylvania, Virginia, New York, and Baltimore all wanted the opportunity to be the capital city. George Washington favored a location near the Potomac River. The land was chosen to be a grand capital city, similar to Paris. This location was filled with forest and swampland. Pierre L'Enfant was hired to be the architect. However, due to various disputes, he was fired. Next, Benjamin Banneker was hired to complete the plans to construct Washington, D.C. So, when you hear about D.C., you usually typically hear about what's going on with like the Caps, how they won the Cup, or politics, and Donald Trump, the president, or how DC's changing, or something of that nature like that when you hear about DC. But and then when you hear about the hood or people that look like me, you probably hear something that's not really that flattering, or something maybe to be negative. But and this right here, what you're going to really witness is the real, you know what I'm saying? It's what DC really is all about, what DC really is. So what you see on TV ain't what it always is.
A and B-O, C-O, we've been pumping crank since an embryo, really though. It's the city where the people hold the power, and you can see 9 dimes every half an hour. With lunch and Joe is the lingo, and brothers rob, so ain't nobody rocking mink coats.
Earlier this spring, Tony Lewis Jr., author of Slug, put together a DC native photo shoot due to some controversial things said in a local magazine. This photo shoot was to symbolize that native Washingtonians who have been here all our lives are feeling left out, and they want to stamp that we are still here. And when I say this, I mean the predominantly black natives are feeling disenfranchised by the gentrification and what's going on. So we're going to learn a little bit what it was like growing up in DC. We're going to dig a little deeper to see just how gentrification was able to spring up like it did, and if natives really do feel like a tourist in their city.
I can call me Shine, you hear me? Because I'm going to do a lot of that, you hear me?
Love him.
Yeah.
Big dog. Bitch.
I'm
We
telling you.
out here.
Certified original shit. Oh man, man, shit was all bad, shit can get all good, you hear me? A lot of pistol popping, a lot of fights and shit like that, right in my environment, But, ain't nothing to a giant though, man, you know what I'm saying? My city fucked up, but it's love here, it's most definitely love here. You a solid man, you most definitely gonna get treated solid, you hear me? You understand? As and no, man, solid niggas only. I feel like home in my city. You hear me? I know everything about my city. You hear me? You know what I'm saying? Man, ain't nothing, I can show you where you need to be, where you want to be. You know what I'm saying? I ain't nothing. And I'm definitely home right now as you look around. I'm telling you.
My name is David Edmonds. I'm from Washington, D.C. I was born in Northeast D.C. and I moved to Northwest D.C. with my parents. I've been here since 1983. Currently, I live in Southwest Washington, D.C., where I work as a D.C. Public librarian with the D.C. Public Library. I work with Anacostia Library as an adult librarian. And I've been working with the D.C. Public Library for 12 years now. I went to Dunbar Senior High School. That's where I graduated from. I moved on to college. I went to Howard University, where I studied communication, public relations, I graduated with a communications degree in 2007. In 2008, I went to Catholic University, pursued my master's degree in library science and information. 2 years after Catholic, I graduated from there, and that's when I was moved from a library technician with the DC Public Library. I transitioned into a young adult librarian, and that's how I began my journey as a librarian in DC Public Library as a young adult librarian. I stayed there for about a year, and then I was asked to become an adult librarian at Anacostia Library, and that was about 6 years ago in 2012, and I've been serving the Anacostia community there ever since in the capacity as an adult librarian.
My name is Nathan Brown. Well, I'm a second generation Washingtonian. I've been in Washington, D.C. for 33 years. I've been in Ward 6 for those 33 years also. My mom was a Washingtonian also, and my grandmother moved from down North Carolina and brought my mom here, which brought me here once I was born in Washington, D.C. And from that point on, my mother always was present in the local neighborhoods in the community, and it just soaked into my soul. So with me, I used to go to ANC commissioner meetings with her, and I watched her talk about different subjects in the community that they wanted change and opportunities to have a voice. And it just like soaked in my soul from that point on. So after we left from around my community, which was Temple Court, that was closed, and we waiting for it to reopen, I felt like a voice was needed. I bumped into a friend of mine from Washington Interfaith Network, which is a nonprofit organization, and I was going downtown to talk to the mayor about bringing my community back. And I just wanted them to uphold the promises that they had said to us. My neighborhood was called Noma, but through gentrification, the kids started calling it No More, because we couldn't take no more through gentrification. So I said I wanted to step up and I wanted to talk. I wanted to be the voice for my community because a lot of people were suffering, a lot of people were getting pushed out. So I said I wanted to step forward and put my best foot forward. I guess it. So many friends, so many families who stayed here, they thought it was a dream like that. When they told us 10 years ago that this neighborhood would close, I never imagined it happening like it did. I never did. But you walk through it and you just can't even believe it. Like, this is a parking lot. Remind me of down the bottom Temple Courts where I was raised at. You go down there, you see that, it's a parking lot. This is a whole neighborhood where so many different families lived at. And look at it now. Some of them by the Wendy's on New York Avenue and them new apartments they have. But you know, they probably kept majority of them together because that's what happens when you move and try to keep that unit together instead of spread it out in buildings. How you gonna become diverse when you all living in the same environment all over again? That was the plan, to be diverse, wasn't it? Go right here, we can get a picture of this wall. Because ain't nobody barely pulling through here. They ain't cleaning it. They ain't doing nothing for it. It's real, man. Corner side, man. That's what they call this part of the quarters, corner side. Now everybody be on this side, over here now, on the opposite side. But right here, the social quarter sign, it's the sign that they fought for. Sign that they represented everywhere they went. Never could forget this sign. It's the most important thing to put in the video, beyond the people. The sign was everything.
Well, the first time I moved to DC, I was 16. I was a pretty young thing back in my day, you know, had it going on. Lived around the corner from, you know, a well-known strip, you know, with all the dope boys and the drug dealers out there, you know, running the street. Luckily, I made it through, partying, going to the clubs, the Mirage, the Ritz, going to the Go-Go, sneaking in the Black Hole, the Ibex, knowing I wasn't 18 at the time to get in. I was going to the classics on Tuesdays and Thursdays for the strippers and going to school right after that. Getting sent back home because of my attire, not because I'm not showing up, but because of what I had on. But it was fun times, nothing like what it is these days. Times have definitely changed. Sometimes I feel like those who have moved back to the district, you know, feel more entitled. I guess because the high cost in the economy as far as housing and things of that nature, the cost of living is quite high in the district. I feel as though they feel like we shouldn't be here, when honestly, a lot of us, not me, but a lot of us have been here their whole lives, and this is all that they know. And for someone else to come in and, you know, act as though they shouldn't be there is a very uncomfortable feeling. You know, even if, I will say this, you know, because things have been brought to the forefront with social media in the world events, it is easier maybe to go to like the museums or different spots that are, you know, a mixture of people. You know, you still have uncomfortable looks and stares like you shouldn't be there. You know what I mean? Like, it's uncomfortable. So yeah, I would say that I feel like a tourist would be someone who does not reside here. They're from somewhere else. So, you know, yeah, absolutely.
We jugging, we in the kitchen, cooking, on the block, jugging, 100 rocks, we jugging, we in the kitchen, cooking, on the block, jugging, 100 rocks, we jugging. I got 30 pounds of loud in the trap house, I got 4 models.
Rain, sleet, hail, or snow, they is gonna eat a dick. Don't matter what the weather is, they gonna come around here and eat a dick. And ain't shit going on.
Man, what's up, y'all? Man, we are in the nation's capital, Northeast Washington, D.C. Right now, man, we're on Advocacy Street, one side of 12th Street, man. It's a different dynamic in this neighborhood, man. You know what I'm saying? It's two different sides. You got the 12th Street side, you got the 10th Street side. You got the up top side, the down bottom side. We down bottom. We on the 10th Street side, Advocacy. Formerly known, used to be known as Platinum World. We had a lot of little aliases coming up, man, but that's where we are, man, Northeast DC, man, right on the edge of Uptown, man, not too far from getting on the south side. So we right in the mix, right in the middle of like everything, you dig?
Then one day though, man, we got these youngins out here, man. You know what I'm saying? They know about the streets. You know what I'm saying? They keep it real out here. People gotta understand where we come from, how we really is out here for real though. You know what I'm saying? They on the streets though, they like a man out here. They ain't no little boy, they like a man out here though. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna keep it real, I'm gonna keep it swell. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to take it. Man, we on 10th Street, right here. This all day, this every day. You know what I'm saying? We like family out here. You know what I'm saying? Man,
I'm gonna keep it 100 though. I'm gonna keep it super 100. Like, I wouldn't even really come on no more like that. I mean, I come outside when it's time to come outside. I breeze through, say what I gotta say, speak to what I need to speak to, do what I gotta do. But man, it's like a lyric off of Juvenile, man, album. He say, man, the youngsters done took over, all the old schoolers is dying out. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying my generation we dying out, because a lot of my homies are still here and still walking the streets taking care of their families. But this is their time, like, you know what I'm saying? When we was coming up around this jump, doing what they doing, with some of the stuff they doing, you know what I'm saying? We did us, but we grown now. You know what I'm saying? So You know what I'm saying? Make sure they safe. They
like
good,
my
and
man
they doing
trying
what
to
they
say,
supposed to do.
like my man trying to say it right now. It's these youngers out here right now taking over. You know what I'm saying? You trying to say these youngers, it's y'all shine. It's time for y'all go ahead and shine. It's time for us old people right now that's lean back. It's time for y'all go ahead and shine. You know what I'm saying? We been there and done that. You know what I'm saying? The street game with us right now, it's over. It's y'all go ahead
I
and
mean,
go ahead and shine.
2018, real talking DC, man. In DC in 2018, trying to make a name for yourself is washed up. It's washed up. Like if you ain't made a name for yourself in the city for whatever reason, it's just in the way. You know what I'm saying? You gonna end up praising, man. You know. See, like me, and I know my man. We grew up in the era of the murder capital and all of that, man. When it was a city under siege and all that crazy stuff, you know what I'm saying? And today, it's a little bit different. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a different dynamic, man. I mean, the city off the chain, but it's off the chain for different reasons versus what it was back then. You know what I'm saying? Back then, it was about a lot of money. Territory was over money in situations like that. Like now, it's like, man, a lot of youngers just trying to just crash out, man, and they doing things for all types of wrong reasons. We are what we are, man, and it's gonna be what it is. But you know what I'm saying? We pushing it. I know, and I don't say this to pat myself on the back, but I know a lot of the guys I run with, we pushing to try to lead these youngers in a whole nother direction, man, so that they got opportunities and things that they can do, man, so they don't really have to necessarily take that wrong route and get caught up in the system, because the system vicious. A lot of niggas, you get caught in that system, man. It's easy to get in, but it's hard to get out of, you know what I'm saying? But majority of everybody out here is gainfully employed or is in school.
That's what's important. You gotta know how to include people who already been here. But what's happening now, man, it seems like it's a crime happening in the city right now. And, you know, I just feel like a voice need to cry out and speak up for the people. I think that need to happen, man. Soon. It need to happen soon. Yeah, I remember Keith lived in this house. So many memories around here, man. So many. Walk around here. This where everybody get pushed to the last area. That's right. Let's do it. Let's do it. What's up with you, big boy? All right. What's up with you, soldier? All right. Everything boarded, man. Only reason why this side ain't boarded because this ain't the what's the name side. This not considered social quarter. Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah. Only the real. Exactly. War 6. War 6. What's up, Black? They ain't saying comedy till they seen my man Lorenzo Barber, man. Also known as Black, man. He up next.
Hey man, you up next, man. Hey, Ward 6
We're gonna take the city by storm, man.
My man's gonna make a difference in Ward 6. I'm telling y'all, man, vote for my man. It's all on my Instagram. I told all my followers, man. I got like 20-something thousand followers.
Let's get it.
I told them, man, vote for my man. Let's go.
Let's go. Hey, how you doing? I'm running for Ward 6 councilman. Okay, Nathan Brown, put it on your ballot. What's up? Day. All right. Okay. Let's do it. Let's get it. You wanna walk in the middle? You can walk in the middle. Before we left, yeah. They added this pole before the neighborhood closed, right? This was the pole where where they listen, where they tell you it's too many people sitting right here. This came at the end of the neighborhood. These the back of the houses right here, the heart and center of certain quarters right here. This was the heart. This was the parking lot. Where everybody pulled up at. Everybody be back here all night long, all night. It's the heart and center of the quarters. If we walk down to the middle of the quarters into after this parking lot, that's called the really though. But this area right here was the heart. This was the quarters. Like everybody came right here in this parking lot.
My name is Lorraine Simpson. I had a wonderful childhood. I love this area. I grew up in the Capitol Hill area. I went to some good schools. I especially liked Stewart Junior High. And, I didn't want for anything. My parents were domestic workers, but they were able to provide us with a good living, nice home, nice clothes. I didn't want for anything. So I lived in a very good community, and I was close with a lot of the people in the community. And like I said, we lived together in harmony. Had no complaints about my childhood. We moved, and I went to Anacostia High School. I wasn't that fond of Anacostia, but we had some smart students there. I just moved in the neighborhood, and I started a new school, and like I said, Dunbar would have been my neighborhood school, but I didn't want to catch the bus, so I went on to Anacostia. And we lived on 2nd Street in Northeast, then we lived on 3rd Street in Northeast, and then I lived on 8th Street Northeast. So I went to Logan for 1st grade, then I went to Golding, and then I went to Stewart. And we moved when I was about 14. When it was time for me to go to high school, we moved. And I went to Anacostia Senior High. We moved to Berry Farm. Well, I had heard so many terrible things about Berry Farm, I didn't make a lot of friends. So I didn't go outside much because, I was afraid. I had heard that these kids did all types of things, so I stayed in the house a lot. So when I went out, I was with my relatives. I loved that. I loved Northeast. We lived right there at 8th and E, longer than any place, right on the corner. I have very, very fond memories of that corner. And I ride past there as often as I can. Well, I'll be honest, I ride up and down the streets, and the streets look so unfamiliar. I don't really say I feel like a tourist because I know where I am, but I just have to take a second look. The things are just changing, and they're changing real fast. I went on a cruise, and when I came back, a whole street was missing. I had to do a double take. I couldn't believe it. The whole street on 8th Street, they had knocked down this little strip mall. So, like I said, I know where I am, and things are just different. And things are changing. And I'll be honest, if things doesn't change, you're not living.
People talk about it and tell these janky stories. We talking about facts, man. We talking about reality, man. I've been a part of that reality. I know what it looks like. And you wouldn't be able to make your way through it if you ain't had to endure it. So if I endured this, I can endure anything. We can make our way down here to the backstretch to where I was really raised. This was a neighborhood where we all hung at. We moved from the top to the bottom. This is Certain Quarters. Temple Courts is at the bottom of the neighborhood. Down the bottom is Temple Courts, and that's nothing but a parking lot. When you see that parking lot, we could step up on the top of the steps, record the parking lot. That broke so many hearts. It broke hearts because you said within a certain amount of time this community was going to be back, but that community wasn't back. So that's when I felt like, man, I had to evolve. I had to come to the next level. Everything happened for a reason. They said they needed somebody to represent for this area. So I had to push forward and do that. If it was anybody else, they could have took that opportunity to took it. But I felt like, what better person? A native. I'm a native from this land. Ward 6 is my land. That's my round. Always been my round. 33 years. You couldn't have got no better person to represent you. My name Nathan Brown. I told him that I can start calling me Mr. Ward 6 now. Let's take a walk. Mount Airy Church, man. I remember sitting on that church every Friday night, everybody posting up, chilling, talking about what we about to do tonight. Look at this. This whole area was a neighborhood. The apartment building used to be right here. We used to have our apartment building right here on K Street. This whole row back here was all townhouses, all the way around, were all townhouses where people lived at. I just look at it and be like, Dad, I remember it was just yesterday, I was playing football in this parking lot. I played a lot of football in this parking lot, man. And to see what happened, to see how, you know, a lot of people weren't included in this process, it's horrific, man. It's like, it's unbelievable.
So, man, this thing right here crazy, man, because, you know, people really ain't understand, like in season 1, how I was kicking it and trying to, you know, just put it out there. And I really wasn't probably articulating it and telling the story the right way. But in this one, right here, we got to come with nothing but the real, you know what I'm saying? We right here in Trinidad, Northeast, Montello and Moore Street or whatever, Northeast, man. I grew up right here where the OGs was out here hustling and doing their thing, and across the street. Okay, my brother. All right, man. So, like, yeah, like I said, I grew up, like, you know what I'm saying, right around here. My girlfriend, you know what I'm saying, had this girlfriend. I mean, she was a young girl, but she was built like an Amazon back then, like 12, 13 years old. And so, you know, I sneak out because my mom, you know what I'm saying, we gonna get into that too. My mom and them, she had me sheltered to all of this part of DC, like my own neighborhood. She sheltered me from this neighborhood and everything like this. So she would have me in Boy Scouts, or I'd be all over DC, but anywhere from around here to realize where I really live and what Trinidad was all about. And when I always saw the sign Trinidad, that's why I never thought anything about my neighborhood. Trinidad looked very suburban when you look at it. Like if you look at the actual block Trinidad, it's nothing but houses, and it's very neat. Older people, elderly people, always growing up. That's how it was when you saw Trinidad. You go up this street, Trinidad, right here. The houses are nice, and so this was always prime real estate. Is what I'm trying to get to. You know what I mean? Trinidad was always, just far as to the eye could see, a beautiful place. You know what I mean? Even before all of these changes and transformations was going on. But back to my story, you know what I'm saying? You know, I came down here to go, you know what I'm saying, get closer to my little girlfriend that I saw who had this amazing body, but I also noticed the old timers, not even the old timers, but the OGs, you know what I'm saying, because they was a little older than me, much older than me, and because of what the status that they had and the money that they was making and things of that nature, they appeared much older than their time because of the kind of cars and all like that. And so that drew people to it, you know what I'm saying? That's part of what kind of, you know what I'm saying? We all, especially them being older, seeing what the whole mission of the drugs and all these epidemics were and everything. But, you know, right here, Montello and Morris, man, you know what I'm saying? Trinidad right there, that's the whole name of this whole area. And this is a very, and everybody in D.C. know about Trinidad. This is a very big neighborhood, you know what I'm saying? And this right here is the bottom, you know what I'm saying? And this was called M&M. The bottom, like I said, the wreck was right here across the street. And now you have a dog park, you know what I mean? It's a beautiful place and all that, got the water, so it ain't a bad thing, but it was not gated at first, and it was a recreation center right there. You know what I'm saying? It was a recreation center right there. And I mean, it was a basketball gymnasium on one side and the office on the other side, computer labs, things of that nature for the kids and stuff like that. So it wasn't like a bad thing, but you know, like I said, this right here is where people sold drugs at.
motherfucking network. Got the heavyweight champ with me. You hear me? Once this shit really get official, motherfucking, yeah, you already know. Everybody concealed, ain't shit sweet, but we ain't on that type shit. But, you know, yeah, heavyweight champ. Who's Mizzou Network? Subscribe to that shit. Shout out my nigga Jelly Vision. Y'all already know what it is, man.
Shout out Jelly Vision. Who's Mizzou?
DC
know what it do.
Documentary, man. You know, this some chill shit. Everything residential. You hear me? You feel me? Residential shit. You know, shit ain't sweet.
On the north. The north. You know what I'm saying?
The clean side.
This ain't the clean, it's the north. Uptown got to be the clean side there. You know what I'm saying? It's uptown OV.
What's up? Y'all gonna be in the interview with me, dog? Let these niggas know DC culture. Scared of the camera? That's cool.
Who's Mizzou, man?
Man, you know what it is, man. Look at young nigga. Look at young nigga.
Hey, if I ain't had shit, cause I would have said, who's Mizzou?
But it's about culture. It's about the DC culture, though.
Man, this is Alfonso Who's Mizzou Duckett. Founder of Who's Mizzou Network. Google that shit. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Straight up. Yeah, I do feel like a tourist in my own city, but that's only because I'm in the workforce. So now that I'm in the work industry, I feel like a tourist in my city because a lot of people that I work around are out of towners. And they look at it as just Washington, but when it's a whole nother city, you know, DC. So it's like, when I'm at work, it's like I'm still trying to let them know, you know, we got natives here that, yeah, that's competing with y'all, because y'all out competition, because y'all coming to get our jobs and stuff. Growing up in DC, it was just like, you know, it was fun, actually, because if you really think about it, man, we got our own genre of music. And like when I was growing up, you know, early 2000s, you know, late 90s, go-go was still the thing, you feel me? And go-go was like really the representation of the city as far as like where you from, who you are, and letting the people know what's really going on in the city. So man, growing up was actually fun, man. You know, we fly down here, you know. Fly got our own lingo, got our own type of music. But all that prepare you for if you ever do step outside the city, because once we step outside the city, we stick out like a sore thumb. And they gonna gravitate towards males and females. So it's just like, growing up here, it's like, I'm glad I grew up here. And nowhere else. I'm glad I grew up here though.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, don't get caught up thinking Ward 6 is just Southwest, the Navy Yard, 8th Street, you know? Don't look at that. You gotta look beneath that. DC is so many different quadrants, so many different levels, man. It's other things you need to see, man.
I am Angela Nicole, and I am a prophetic worshiper and vocalist in the DMV. I would say beautifully chaotic for me. I lived in almost every part of DC. My favorite was Northwest. It was a lot of memories there, memories of my favorite person were my grandfather, who lived on North Capitol Street, one of the first houses on the corner, like right after you come from up the bridge. So I always knew once we got to the end of that bridge, we were at his house, and it felt good being near his home because my family is mainly from Letroy Park. So it was good seeing the memories and seeing all of the neighborhoods that he grew up in that he used to enjoy, and it was just good. It was quiet, it was peaceful, but Northeast and Southeast was a completely different experience for me. And Southeast was very rough for me. There were a lot of people that were intimidated by my height. I'm very tall, and even as a child I was tall, so there were a lot of people that were intimidated by my height. So even though my personality was great, they didn't get a chance to know me. So I went through a lot as a child, but overall DC has always been my favorite place to live, because of the history. I'm an extreme history buff. It's really, really bad. And knowing who I am and where I came from is extremely important to me. So living close to history was always my favorite part of living in DC. Being close to the monument and being able to drive to Arlington and Alexandria, where they have African American memorials. I used to work in Virginia, and being able to drive past that every day or walk past it every day always meant a lot to me. So my favorite part of living in DC is definitely Northwest and being close to history. Because of, like I said, I'm a big history buff, so I actually take pride in being from here. So I've always felt home, no matter what it looks like, no matter how it changes, it's always going to be home to me. A lot of times, the way that things have been built up, you know, it becomes a question for me as to how we got here. But for the most part, I always feel at home, whether I'm on North Capitol Street by my grandfather's house, or if I am downtown on 14th Street, 14th and K, feeding the homeless. No matter where I am, it's always home to me.
Man, it's like no other, because we like when you meet other people from other states or places, they be like, you know, well, I'm from here and this and that, and they like stuff is so far away, and like, you know, we have the liberty to having stuff so close, but it's being so important, like the Capitol, the monument, all these landmarks that we around, and living through Metro and all that type of stuff, and, you know, going to these historic schools. You know, I've been to all the little places, you know, and like people be like, oh wow, have you been to the White House? Like, have you been to the monument? You know, and I've been around people that's from other places, but this is like no other. I've been to other cities too, and stuff is far away, and you have to have a car to be able to navigate and get around. But in this city, you can walk. I've walked from place to place. I walked from one side of the almost Maryland all the way in the middle of DC. I've done that, like, because this is one of those cities that you can do that 10 square miles in the square. Like, and our culture, like go and things of that nature, like in the way our slang and talk, you know, is one of a kind. And that's what makes it so, you know, good to be from this city. Like, not to have to bring it up, but in the penal system, they say, you know, DC guys, you know, because they put us all in this system or whatever, like we're one of a kind. And even us being one of a kind, I've been told that I'm like one of a kind of a person, like that's from a bunch of people that's one of a kind. So it's like, you know, being, you know, from this city, it has this, you know, ways of molding people and producing, you know, the best out of people. I know people that's, you know, that played in the NFL and stuff like that, and play basketball that's from this city, like, so, and famous stars and all that, and you can still tell that they from this city, because we know, because we can see and hear that type of stuff on them, because those are, you know, the charismatic charisma that they carry with themselves, like Taraji P. Henson's and Josh Cribbs and Vernon Davis and all them type of people. Like, we know those type of people, like, and I know people who know them. So, you know, it's just a glorious feeling of being from this city.
Last thing, you mentioned a little bit about this new soccer field and everything. They build and everything like that. Tell us a little bit about that and how it make you feel, like you said, being a part of history.
Oh man, I actually just went across a piece of the turf. We was like, oh man, that's the turf. Like, dang, so it's like we seeing little parts of it being made, and we was laying bricks and like, oh yeah, we a part of history, a part of this. I was like, man, I'm gonna just probably throw a rock somewhere and be like, oh yeah, this gonna always be here, because this is something just like the Nat Stadium, and it's there,
and it's dead, like this is gonna be here. You know, shoot, when DC United first came out, I remember one of the first stars, like Freddie Adu. Like he was one of the, you know, stars of the United. Like I don't even know no players, but I'm definitely gonna follow it now because I'm a part of, you know, this being built. So, and I'm going to attend some soccer games. I'm gonna take my little stepson and them and be like, yeah, cause I did it. You know, I was a part of this. So I definitely want to, you know, be involved in, you know, building even the economics of it. You know, being able to, you know, put some money to this and come to the soccer game because who just think like as kids we wasn't really into soccer and all that. It was like the main sports: football, basketball, baseball. You might even swim when you go swimming. But you know, soccer is going to be something, you know, like probably King doing it because we got a soccer stadium of our own. It's not just RFK now. So you know, because that's a sport that could probably be touched by us in our culture and our nature, like it is, because that's one of the best sports in the world. In the world, you know, we just in the United States, but in the world, that's the world's game, soccer.
DC a wild spot in itself, just being here, living here, being from here. You know, it's like it's a different spot. It's special in its own way, and then you know it got its other things like being here. You can feel like a tourist when you here sometimes, and you live here, and then you can feel like you know everything when you live here because you've seen so much and so much shit going on here. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know how this shit be, you know? Like, you'll go somewhere, for example, like I done been to Georgetown. Man, a million times over. Going up there to go shop, going to buy shit. Your mother and them take you up there. You know what I'm saying? But it's like one time I went up there the other, like probably about 3 years ago. And this the first time I ever been to this spot in Georgetown. And this shit been there forever. And there was people up there like they known about this spot forever, but I never knew about this spot and this shit right in DC. I felt like a tourist. Like I was like, I ain't never seen this shit and I'm from here and I come up here all the time. Then walk past this spot, never seen it, never came down, never even tried to come down there and venture down there, but it's a nice little spot, cool little spot. If you got a little broad, take her down there, man, you definitely gonna get some cheeks. But man, you hear me? You know what I mean? But yeah, DC, man, is a beautiful place. They got this shit with it. A lot of people get killed here too, but a lot of beautiful shit going on here. A lot of culture here. You know, they don't tell you about the Harlem Renaissance and shit that was going on here in DC. You know what I'm saying? Like, you go all up U Street and all that shit up there, you'll see, they done push shit out for you to see now. You know what I'm saying? But if you don't know nothing or you don't know what you're looking for, know what to go look at, you wouldn't even see it. You know what I'm saying? But it's hidden in plain sight. You know what I'm saying? But they got history. Like, just go do the history. U Street, Adams Morgan. Matter of fact, the whole uptown, even Southeast, like all this shit used to be black. Like everything was black in DC. A lot of this shit. DC is city on valleys too. A lot of people don't know. That's why you don't get a lot of hurricanes and tornadoes and shit like that here. You know what I'm saying? And that's why they want to come here too. You know, the way this shit is set up. You know what I mean? And then that's why there's not a lot of floods here and shit like that. Or when it is floods, it's in certain areas because it's based, like it's valleys and hills and shit. So it don't really, you don't get a lot of that. That's why it's like that. Matter of fact, some of the best areas in DC is Southeast. Actually, some of the best views. You can see the whole city because it sit on hills, a lot of hills and slopes, and that's why a lot of gentrification going over there too. They don't want you to know that shit. Got some of the best views you can get in DC and Southeast because a lot of Southeast is on hills, a lot of it. You know what I'm saying? Capitol Hill, keyword hill, Capitol Hill. You know what I'm saying? They put the Capitol on it as the top. They see everything, and then it's in the middle of everything too. If you look at it, just go do the geography of DC, how they got it set up, the font shit and all that shit, and well, Benjamin Banneker. We ain't gonna get too much of that shit right now. But yeah, you know how they got it set up and how the buildings are set up and why this building meet and correspond with this one and you know all that shit. But yeah, I don't want to get too deep into it because I can't give you everything. You know how it's supposed to be given, but I can give you little bits and pieces so you can go look it up yourself. You know what I'm saying?
You don't get that everywhere. I mean, I flow through the city all the time, man, and I see a lot of different situations occur in different places, man. But I can say for sure, in my section, man, a lot of my youngins, man, they doing the right thing. You know what I'm saying? And I just hope that continues on and we get stronger and elevates to a whole another level because it's another generation coming behind them. Wow. So they got to be able to, man, pass that same knowledge off to the next generation so they can, come up behind them and do their thing. I know my young homie, man, I think about, this young critter right here, man, like, I done know him since, man, running around elementary school, man, cold badass, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, straight up, like, I used to be so mad, like, I can't even put in the words.
Nigga, I used to say, man, fuck you, cocky. Man, 2 hours later, this nigga taking me out to eat, man. Go get you something to eat.
Yeah, that shit ain't
passing me book bags
for real. It's for real. It's for real. It's like, man, a hug gonna take care of a hug. Man. It's like we take care of these youngers. These youngers gonna take care of the hood. You know what I'm saying? End of the day, it's all about us. End of the day, it's all about kids out here running around, playing and all that. We don't worry about that. We make sure them kids alright, be good. One thing. You know what I'm saying? Man, you live about the struggle. I know my father, I was about 6. I've been out here. I've been pumping gas and curring people with ghosted bags.
And that's the thing, man. Sean,
you know what I'm saying?
He spends some real spit. That's the thing, the difference in life. Man, it's rain, man. The difference in life, man, like, see me, and I take it back to another rapper, Pusha T. A lot of people talking about Push because of the beef with him and Drake. And somebody on Instagram had said something about Pusha T, like, man, Slim came up and he ain't go through no struggle. But see, Pusha T put it out there for you off the break. Push said in the song with Get It the Kid, these was his lyrics. He said, I ain't got your average rapper story. Came up with both parents, they was clapping for me. High school graduate, college course dabble with, still not enough to keep the nigga from the savages. You dig? So I said that to say this, man, I grew up, I had both my parents, like, my mother and my father in the same household. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't a house over my roof over my head, food on the table. I ain't had to do much of nothing other than go to school. But you know what I'm saying? We all jump out there and jump off the porch one day. You know what I'm saying? And start navigating and want to see what this is about, what that's about. You know what I'm saying? Everybody had their day in the sun. But I say that to say this, man. The people that able to make a 360, you know what I'm saying? What they go through, like my man Hurt right here, walking down the street. You know what I'm saying? We make a difference. You know what I'm saying? Like you take what you know, and you pass it back to those coming up behind you, so they don't have to go through the same situations. You know what I'm saying? You give them the game.
Whoa.
You give them the game. You know what I'm saying? Show them what it is, man. So they don't have to go over those speed bumps, man. It was done for me. My big brother B Kills, man. You know what I'm saying?
That's a
man,
beast.
show me love. Man, B still alive. What you talking about? B still alive and well. B Kills, man.
Nah, I already know
B
still alive.
Kills, man. Big bro, like, real talk, man. I used to make sure I used to get in the house every night. You know what I'm saying? Every night. Used to leave from right here and go down where I was at and make sure I got in the house every night safely, man. You know what I'm saying? Always a phone call away. Like, I always had big homies. That's why I always hung with a lot of older cats, man. They showed me love and kept me, you know what I'm saying, grounded. You know, so it is what it is, man. This our city. I don't feel like a tourist. I'm not saying like I run the city or I own the city, but it's my city. Like at the end of the day, I see the tags that man come in every day. I see the area codes that pop up on the phone, and I see the new DC. But I'm a 4th generation Washingtonian at the end of the day. Like I'm here. I've been here. I done seen all facets of the city from the worst to the best. And like my man Gerard Street Garvey say, man, gentrification. Man, I'm enjoying what the city, man, is. I'm enjoying what they bring to the city, man. You got the bike shit, you got, man, all this nightlife, these restaurants, and this, that, and the third, man. Man, I'm enjoying it, man. They ain't gonna run me on Maryland or Chicago, Atlanta, North Carolina or something, man. Nah, you just gotta, man, keep grinding and, man, make sure that you can afford living in this city. And we gonna keep it moving, man, but...
Man, it's like, man, I was about younger. I was younger than y'all. I was about 12 years old. Man, I used to run around here. He'll tell you. Man, I was bad at ever. You know what I'm saying? I'm going at gas station like, man, I need to give me a beer out here. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I need to do something. You know what I'm saying? Man, like he said, my man B, man. Man, B turned me to a man, He turned me to a man. For real, he turned me to a man. Then he turned me to a father out here. That's saying, my wife, man, for real, my wife had my son. Slim, I had to stop everything. I'm like, man, forget everything, man, and take care of my family out here,
My
man.
man got son right here. He younger. He got
Yeah.
son, and man, he doing everything in his power to man be able to provide for his child at the end of the day. And you can't do nothing but commend the young man for doing that at the end of the day. Like,
Yeah.
it's real, because a lot of men that turn their back on their kids, man.
No,
They
whoa.
turn their back. They don't claim them. They don't show them love. They don't support them. They don't support their dreams and their ambitions. He's a youngin'. You know what I'm saying? I ain't trying to be funny, but he's he's still a kid. You know what I'm saying? But he see the bigger picture. You know what I'm saying? And that's he doing what he's supposed to do. He ain't looking for no accolades or no pats on the back. You know what I'm saying? He don't want everybody to run around and sign the Father's Day card for him. You know what I'm saying? He doing his thing.
Man, I'm about to say it right here, man, a father gonna be a father. And that day you gonna get that money. Go get that money, man. Get that money. Get that money and take care of your little youngin' and move on. And keep on stepping. It's real out here, man.
It's about getting money, he right, but if you don't get it the right way, then you ain't gonna be here for your kids. You know what I mean? Like,
that's right.
Yeah. There's niggas out here hustling. You know what I'm saying? And they got kids, but like if you hustling, you got a kid, man, that can't be your life. Because if that's your life, then the fuck, all your kid gonna know is hustling. Why would you want your kid to go through what you had to go through? Like, for instance, I ain't saying it's me, I'm just saying in general. A young nigga, 16, paying his mother rent. A young nigga, 16, giving his mother money for a car note. You know what I'm saying? That shit is real. That shit is real.
That shit real.
This my brother. I've been with this nigga since like motherfucker. Since running from across these two streets, about to get hit by cars.
Kane and old dog went in a whole nother
know
way,
what I'm
man. You know what I'm saying? They ain't going out like Kane and old dog, but they like Kane and old dog. That's how type of nigga. You see one, you see the other. The one ain't too far away. But he talking some real shit though. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, man, you make a situation you gotta be responsible for. You know.
Oh shit, well, growing up in DC, man, for me, I'm from Northeast, I'm from Edgewood, so it was fun, it was different. Same as everybody else, I guess, so to speak, as far as like living in the hood, crackheads, dope fiends, everybody selling, people getting killed, shit like that. You're gonna see that everywhere when you live in a spot like this, where I'm from, the environment I'm in. But like, like I said earlier, it's very culture here. So like, if you're one of them type of people, you have parents, let's say, because as a kid you don't really have a lot of say so and everything. At least I don't feel like you do. Your parents got a lot of that. If they're culture and they know a lot of stuff and they're knowledgeable with things, then they'll get you out and you'll see things and you'll get to experience DC and see what what DC has to offer. So for me it was good. And then I went to I had the privilege. Well, once I got to junior high, because of I don't want to get too far into what I was doing growing up, but when I went to a pretty decent high school and shit like that. It was called CPCS. You know what I'm saying? And it's a pretty decent school as far as like the education and the academics. You know what I mean? As far as that was concerned, I think it was pretty good. I learned a lot. I feel like I'm already naturally bright, but I feel like as far as like harnessing that knowledge and and the education piece, harnessing it the right way, I wouldn't have got that at a better spot than what I was. You know what I mean? Because I definitely learned a lot, and they showed us a lot, and they took us a lot of places. They gave us opportunities when we were in high school to go abroad and go learn. Like Greece, Costa Rica, all type of spots, like just going places. And this was in high school, 10th, 11th, 12th grade. We went on college tours, all type of stuff. So I was doing stuff, earlier than. Or not, I'm not gonna say earlier. I was doing things that urban kids weren't doing. The normal urban kid, the average urban, youth, they wasn't doing. Like, that's some shit I would say. The exposure we was getting was the exposure I would say white kids were getting. The suburban kids maybe, so who went to like a better school or were in a better environment, where had a better upbringing. I was getting those type of experiences, and I feel like that made the difference, because I was able to look out, like we'll have a look from the outside looking in from where I was from, and then I was able to go back in there because I'm from there and see what it is, you know what I'm saying? Because I know what it is firsthand. So I had a firsthand and secondhand experience on a lot of that shit. You know what I'm saying? On a lot of shit. So I think that make me a lot better of a person and more a well-rounded person. You know what I mean? So I mean, DC. I wouldn't never. I don't feel like I would have ever grew up anywhere else. You know what I mean? Like I don't. You know, I hear a lot about a lot of other places, New York and L.A. and Georgia, Atlanta, and you know Houston. You know, people say you know my city. You know what I mean? That's cool. I respect that. I respect that. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody got their experience in their city. But I love my city. I love being from DC. I love living here. I love everything that I experienced here. All that shit.
I come down here and got to hanging with these guys that like this whole big neighborhood, everybody, you know, and everybody was doing their thing, but everybody, you know, these guys, they had a certain charisma about them. Like, you know, they was getting money, had a lot of nice clothes, nice cars, and a lot of women. And so I picked up on that and kind of emulated that whole type of swag. And, you know, I was playing football, so that helped me not to really engage and to be, you know, trying to sell drugs and nothing like that. But I still picked up on the whole energy of, you know, I mean, the street element and things of that nature. But, you know, the way I was raised, I knew education was important. And the reason why I kind of gravitated to these older guys is because the guys in my neighborhood around here, you know, when I was growing up, they didn't always we didn't always get along because it was like a resentment thing towards me because of the way my mom was raising me, you know what I mean? And I didn't understand that at the time, you know, because you know, I was, like I said, exposed to different things, but sheltered to this. So people might look at me like a goody two-shoes, a white boy, or whatever, but when I came to the rec center, you know, the guys that hung down here, you know, they didn't give me that type of deal. You know, they just looked at me like Mac or Grape Jelly. You know, I wasn't Grape Jelly at the time, I was Mac. You know what I'm saying? We played ball, and I'm talking about these some hard-up, cold-hearted dudes you know, to the rest of the world or to the rest of the neighborhood. You know, people respect them and everything like that, but whereas though they see me, they showing me love, and you know, so I gravitated, so this became like really my block, you know what I'm saying, in a sense, even though I ain't sell no drugs or do this and do that, you know what I'm saying, I still had my shortcomings with the law and everything like that, but it wasn't because I was selling drugs, and then we gonna get into that, you know what I'm saying, and y'all know what it's all about, that pack, and now it's legal, so like I said, we're gonna get into that, but I'm getting real long-winded, so I gotta move around, but we right here on the Blizzard. So, you know what I'm saying, this is real right here, you know what I'm saying, to me in DC Court, man, and why I'm doing this, you know what I'm saying, this is really why I'm doing this because, like, my mother, she raised me in such a way where it was good, and, like, don't get me wrong, our parents, they you know, they was on to some good things, and then that's why they hit us with the drugs and things like that, because they, you know, the whole mission and the reason why DC is picking up the way it is now is because the plan was for it to be this grand city, but we rushed here. Black people, we rushed here to DC back in the day. Like as soon as the Emancipation Proclamation was signed, you know, the South was still very oppressive. And this is like right there in the midline. And that's why they call, you know, DC natives real country, because a lot of our people origin, or, you know, people came from up north too, but a lot of people came from the South because it was so oppressive.
Yeah, man, what the fuck it do, man? That's your boy Fat Draco right here, you hear me?
It's your boy K Grammy, you know.
You know, the good man Davey Ruffin, you know what I mean?
Yeah, man. We in Trinidad, Northeast. Man, shit was deep. It just got deeper since we got older. I mean, I had the best of both worlds. I kind of grew up on Southeast and Northeast. I ain't uptown, fuck it. So it's just like, you know, you seen a lot of shit at a young age.
Like growing up in the South Side, man, it's like, oh, you know, it's savage, man. Like, either get it or get out the way. That's the only thing you understand. But you realize when you get older, shit, a rocket stuff you done did ain't even worth half of the consequences you done been through. For real. You just gotta try to live and maintain and get it right.
Yeah, I grew up on the, I had it all right. I grew up on the Oxon Hill, Maryland side and the South side. So, I mean, when I was younger, it was cool to do all that. We thought it was cool, you know what I'm saying? But now that I'm older, son, you just got focus on a bag. You know what I'm saying? When you get a certain age, all you want to do is run up a bag and take care of yours. I mean, that's about it for real. When you get a certain age, you can't just be out here just doing what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? You got to handle business. Man time type shit.
Like the worst thing ever is having family sometimes, but not having family. When you know you got them and you ain't got the support from them, sometimes that can mess you up mentally for real. You feel like you ain't got nobody. You feel like you by yourself. But as long as you move forward, knowing that you got yourself, that's all the person you need. At the end of the day, the things you go through in life, you the only one that can change them. So yeah.
Do y'all feel like a tourist in your own city?
Sometimes, hell yeah. Sometimes, yeah.
I mean, when it come to certain shit, like, I mean, like the way we just want the support that they give out of towners. You know what I'm saying? There's no reason why an out of towner can come here and book a show and get booked for a show and pack that shit out. And you got everybody right here already. You see what I'm saying? You got a whole city full of straight drop. Like you can book us and let us pack it out, but instead they'd rather do that. We need more unity. You see what I'm saying? Like I'm a comedian, I don't rap, so us comedians, we got our own little thing put together to the point where they ain't gonna be no way they can't fuck with us. They gonna have to. We're gonna make you fuck with us. So you can't back doors. You can't go around us, and you gotta come holler at us. You got to.
Straight like that, man.
Just watching people grind and how they proceed with certain things. Like, I had the opportunity of watching my little cousin do it and a bunch of other people do it, and how the city is. It's a crab in the barrel, man. It's like they pull you up, and then somebody find a way to pull you back down. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, this comedy shit, it's a lot of unity in this. You know what I'm saying? So maybe we can show the city how it's supposed to be done.
Like, when people think you on already, that'd be the worst, because I'm gonna say it'd be the worst for real, because it's like, you knowing the people half your life, but it's like once they see you start doing stuff, you going somewhere, it's like now they want to fuck with you, or now they want to support you. Like, I want to support when I ain't got nothing that way. When I have everything, I know who was really there for me.
Shit authentic as
We're shooting a movie for HBO. Fuck yeah. 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 Hey, we ain't at HBO yet, y'all. We be there soon. Well, I'm speaking it into existence.
Nah, you got to.
Hey, G's, I'm speaking it into existence.
That can't be up there. We be like, youngster, you see that
Yeah.
shit? We call good money, homie.
Yeah.
Priceline, one of them jumps.
Yeah, we can get there.
Bullshit, this shit right here, history.
My name is Ray Gideon Peoples. Born and raised in Washington, D.C., Southeast to be exact. In some aspects, really great positive memories in terms of just, learning about everything from the arts, the rich history we have around, music and art period in D.C. and in education from different angles, on a collegiate level and on a day-to-day cultural level, the things you learn from hood politics to government politics. Some aspects of growing up in D.C. Weren't always positive because of, the crime and the violence and things that we experienced growing up in the 80s and 90s, during the crack era and during, the Rayful Evans era, during the whole Reagan era, during the whole, as far as administration with the government, and also D.C. is kind of one of those places where it's a mixture of so many different things. Like, growing up in Southeast, you could be on one side of the shrimp boat, on one side of Anacostia, and it's crackheads, syringes, condoms on the ground that were being used, all kind of violent crime, people getting jumped, shot, whatever. And then you could throw a rock up the street in the Capitol Hill, which is also Southeast, and there's picket fences and Happy Meadows, right across that other side of the bridge. So, melting pot of an experience. It's present time, sometimes yes. Some aspects of where I grew up in Southeast, it's still the same, still see,
people hanging out. You know, you still see the drugs, you still see some of the crime element, but then at the same token, there's certain parts and certain memories and things that I have from DC that are like a puff of smoke now, because it's like you in the place of where certain things, landmarks and things you remember growing up around that's stapled in your mind as memories. It's like you see gentrification everywhere. You see condos that cost $500,000. You see, you know, nothing against other races or cultures, but you see a whole lot more of milk chocolate than you see Chocolate City. You know, you see, you know, a whole different element that's more kind of upscale and pristine. And I do believe positive change and growth around building up community so it's not poverty stricken and drug infested is a great thing. But the downside is that you almost don't even recognize where everything is anymore. You don't recognize the people sometimes in certain parts. You don't recognize the environment. Some of the rich culture that came along with even some of that downside that was positive. Like you don't see the DC owned businesses like you used to. You know, we used to have our own clothing stores, own clothing businesses. Used to have shops and vendors on the streets that were selling their own, you know, clothing line, from hats to shoes to jackets to whatever. You know, you had DDTP, Madness, Hobo, Chocolate City, Rugged Wear, the whole nine. And you don't see none of that no more. You know, shooters, threads, you name it, you know. And, you know, even down to the PA Palace, which was one of the main, you know, stays of how it helped you stay connected to the underground culture of the music and art scene as it relates to go-go and other art forms. You know, you used to couldn't get it nowhere but PA Palace. So that's one of the main ways it feels nothing like the city that I grew up in at all.
Man, I be telling my friends every time I step out, like, I definitely feel like a tourist, like, you know, just walking the streets. When I come to work over here in Southeast, a lot of times I don't feel like a tourist, so to speak, because I see a lot of people that look like me. But a lot of times if I'm going to different parts of the city outside of Southeast, and not the Southeast like Capitol Hill, they don't even say that Southeast, they just say, oh, I'm in Capitol Hill. But I definitely feel like a tourist because you know, you don't see nobody that look like you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just the vibe different, the culture's different, you know what I'm saying? I definitely feel like a tourist a lot of times, and you know, it's funny because it just happens like overnight. It almost seems like, you know, you just wake up one day, you like, man, I thought I was in the majority, now I feel like I'm in the minority. People looking at me like, what you doing in this space and location? And I'm thinking to myself, I was always right here. You know, it's like a song that I heard. It's like a lyric that I heard Jay-Z say one time. He says something to the effect that the higher he goes up, the less amount of black folk that he sees. And it almost seems like that in D.C. If you want to go in certain pockets and experience certain things, you don't see that many people that look like you. And to answer your question, I definitely feel like a tourist a lot of times.
Cool. That's pretty cool. That sums it up, man. I appreciate you, man. That completes this whole little situation, man. Thank you for being a part of this, man.
Hey, Mac, thank you for coming out to my live. You came to where I work. You know what I'm saying? You guys to see both sides of the spectrum. Once again, I want to thank you for reaching out to me and allowing me to be part of this documentary. I tell you nothing but blessings and success for you and all of your peers, associates, and family members. Respect.
Brand new pussy with no hoe. Wake up every morning, catch a dough. I don't fuck with pigs, I ain't cold. I'm riding in that motherfucking road.
What's poppin'? You know what it is. It's your boy 9 Millie, a.k.a. Mr. Land Low and Playing Slow, a.k.a. the Prince of Lynch Mob, nigga. You know what's up? We in this bitch. Your access has been granted right now, you heard me? Shit, at the end of the day, you know, this shit was an epidemic moment. You know it was rough. You know what I'm saying? A lot of drugs selling, a lot of shooting, a lot of killing, everything, you heard me? Like, a lot of welfare living, EBT cars, you know what it is. Like we was really out this bitch really thugging hard. Hustling doing this bitch on a professional level, you heard me? Shit, that's pretty much what's up, you know what I mean? Like a fatherhood, all that shit. I feel like a tourist in my city because I don't leave up outside of Lynch Mob. So if a motherfucker asks me like where to take them at and shit, you heard me, I ain't gonna really know where to take them at. So for real, I do feel like a tourist. I don't really know this motherfucker like that. I know this motherfucker like that though, you heard me? Real talk. You see how this shit be going? Like we be in this bitch really like really doing this bitch, you heard me? Like on some real gangster shit. Like this how we really rocking. On some real gangster shit, you heard me? I'm talking about I done put blood, sweat, and tears into this bitch. On some real gangster shit, you heard me? This how this shit be lit. You see, if you gonna see different courts got their own different kind of styles in life, you heard me? That's on some real gangster shit. Like, we just really like, this a different kind of lifestyle right here, you heard me? On some real gangster shit, we really up this bitch. Yeah, yeah. Check her out, check her out. Check her out. That's my little baby right there. Check her out though. Check her out. She always do this. See this they alley right here. You see this alley right here? This like more of a like older crowd alley right here. It's a big fucking.
We on 600 block of Morton Street, 640, Lawton Morton, the block, all types of names. The names changed a lot with the generations. Like, it was called C12, Park Road.
No limit.
No, like a different name. But you are behind the black hole. Chuck Brown played in there. EU, Red Essence, Backyard, Naughty Boys. Yeah.
Junkyard.
I'm too young for the black hole.
640 is an apartment building over on Park Road. And when crack first hit in the 80s, that's where we used to be at. In this apartment building, C12. We used to be in that apartment. And that's where it started at, 640. And so inside the neighborhood, outside the neighborhood, all of this became known as 640. But within the neighborhood, 640 is just a building over there. I guess that's where the gold mine started at. Yeah, so.
Well, when I was coming up too back in the day, they also said in the circle, you got a circle. You can, if you get on top of the roof at the bottom of the street and look down, you can see 640 in the circle. You can see the 6 go one way, the 4 go another way, and the circle is right there.
Oh, I didn't know that.
We discovered that when we was coming up on the roof.
For me, growing up in DC, it was amazing. Like, it was exciting, it was sad times, it was hard times. Like, it was like, because being from DC and going into other cities, it's like this is a totally different place. It's like we are this close to where the president live at. You would think that it was way different than what it really is. And being in DC is like if you go from one part of DC to another part of DC and it's so small, it could feel like you gonna change the whole nother city or state because the people act totally different. You know what I'm saying? They dress different, damn near talk different. And you know, you gotta go hundreds of miles away in other cities to get shit like that. It's like, this a motherfucking state in a little ass city. And once you move around and you meet different people from different parts, it's like it's like, man, you might got some, you might got some. You might got some guys that grew up in the street but still went to school and made it out. You know what I'm saying? But still come back to the hood. Like, and you got some niggas that made it out the hood and said, fuck everybody in the hood. You know what I'm saying? And like, it's so, now that there's so many opportunities in the city for people to get out, we got a lot of outlets now. So I think it's better for the kids growing up here now. They got more opportunities than what we had growing up. Like,
Me, I didn't know the value of growing up in the city until I got locked up. I did 18 years in the feds, and I went to prison in '91. So when I went to the feds, you know, it's kind of isolated from different groups: New York, Crips, Bloods, GDs, Vice Lords, and then you from DC. So then you begin to see the value of DC. But I went to jail at such a young age, at 17. I didn't know the value of being from DC. So when I grew up, we from uptown. So that was the difference. I ain't from DC, I'm from uptown. And so that was like something totally different. When we wear some clothes, you'll get it in Southeast 3 months later. That's how we grew up.
Yeah.
Coming up was a little different. Cause like, when I was coming up, we had a rec around here. But man, E-Boy, rest in peace, E-Boy had the E-Boy All-Star. Had a little baseball team. I don't know what Shug was talking about. I think Shug was on the baseball team.
Yeah.
You know how to play pool, different little shit like that. We went on camps, Camp Brown, different stuff like that.
The youngest niggas was scared to go to Camp Brown.
There was so much going on the streets. We had to be in the little stuff like that to get away from, you know what I'm saying, some of the stuff was going on. So it was good and it was bad. But also growing up around here, for me, it was like I watched all my old heads. And one thing I can say, all my old heads was always fly. They always had money, they had nice cars and women. I kind of picked up on that coming up, you know what I'm saying? I always wanted to have fly clothes, pretty women, and nice shit. So it's like, I watch my old heads do it, so I come up with a lot of swag. And I'm chasing that bag, so growing up in DC,
you see how he talk?
It's kind of
The way he talk? That's that uptown.
Swag, man.
That's that uptown talk right there, man.
Don't mind me, man. It's not intentionally done. I'm done though.
Rap. I'm saying, me on the other hand, man, it was a gift and a curse, man. Like for me, I grew up in the herb, man. Like, man, once you walk outside, man, everything was right there, man. But then on the other hand, I grew up in the herb that, man, it was the thing to go to school. You know what I'm saying? Like, school was popping. If you wasn't in school, I was right here on Moore Street, man. You know what I'm saying? It was like everything, you didn't have to go nowhere to do nothing. It was right here, so it was a gift and a curse, man. You know what I'm saying? But like, I fall in the category of my mind. I went in when I was 17 based on this shit was a gift and a curse. You know what I'm saying? And I sat down for a minute and it's kind of like what he said, man. You gain a whole nother understanding of Washington itself and just growing up in Washington, man. That shit mean a lot, but a lot of people don't even know it, man. I'm gonna leave that with that, man. Oh, man.
No. I'm gonna keep it.
Or you go in the same route?
No, niggas just talk.
They give you no respect.
Huh?
Like, I've been here damn near 40 years strong. Ain't been nowhere else outside of where the feds done took me. You know what I'm saying? And you got people that move here, man, move right beside you. You speak to them, they give you no hospitality whatsoever.
People
But out
from
of,
Pittsburgh, though.
yeah, but all out of respect, you just let it keep moving. It's on them, not on you. You know what I'm saying? But they make you feel like an outsider when in reality, they outsider.
Yeah, do you feel like a tourist in your own city? Yeah, I'm talking about as far as law enforcement from motherfucking VA, Pennsylvania, even the firefighters. You go walk past the fire station, you see Pennsylvania license plates and all that. Man, yeah, I definitely I don't feel like a tourist in my own city because I'm from here and you know what I mean. This home, you know what I mean. But nah, yeah, shit be feeling out of place with the what's it called? What's going on?
Gentrification.
Gentrification. My man.
Gentrification. Gentrification. But nah, hey, I'm gonna keep it a biscuit. I've been here all my life, and when you go downtown and shit, they look at you like you crazy, like you ain't from here. And
You can walk to the top of the block.
well, yeah, no, but not how they doing it downtown. See, you got a pack of motherfuckers looking at you crazy. See, when you right here, it might be a few might walk past, but 9 times out of 10, it's they routine when they coming past here. So they done been past here a few times. They like, shit, this a motherfucking this a neighborhood. It's a bar on the top of this. They would never let no black people have a fucking bar right here. It's a fucking bar right here on the top of the block. There'd be a million crackers in that motherfucker. They might have a live band playing in there, and the police will come right here and ask us to be quiet.
Yep.
I'll be like, what the fuck? I'll be like, what the fuck? They got a live band.
See, that's my thing. Now,
they got a live band playing right here, and you come down here and ask us to ignore the fucking noise? Are you fucking serious? Like, it's not.
That's one of the biggest things about gentrification that I see, like the double standard of law enforcement. He was talking about law enforcement. The double standard. Like, white people could be drunk as shit on U Street, stumbling and fumbling, and the police talking to them nice. We could be here peacefully chilling, and they come talking to us aggressive. And we've been here all our lives. That's one of the big negative features of gentrification. To me, the double standard in law enforcement, even though with black people it's always been a double standard with law enforcement, but it's really highlighted with white people moving in. And that's something I never thought I'd see, white people walking down Morton Street. I never thought I'd see. When I went to prison in 91, if you saw a white person on Morton Street, he was a vicious dope fiend or a vicious crackhead or police.
That was chasing you, trying to beat you.
That's something I thought I'd never see. And you see white people walking down 14th Street at 2 o'clock in the morning with 3 dogs, chilling. I never thought I'd see nothing like that.
I don't know, when I grew up around here, man, it was white people living in the 40 building, man.
Was they on it?
Nah. Was they on it now?
The lady that lived on the first floor with the kids and shit, but she was on welfare. The fuck you mean? They ain't had no fucking money.
Some bullshit, man.
The hell? Her daughter grew up about my age. She probably they age. Fat as a fool.
I feel like I'm a tourist more so in the shopping stores. You know what I'm saying? I feel like they follow blacks around, but they don't follow no other race around the stores. They really be on that hurry up and buy shit. You know what I'm saying? But we been here. We support all the stores. It's sad because it's like most of the black motherfuckers support more of the outside races than they support their own race.
What's up?
And they don't give a fuck about it. You know what I'm saying? As far as all the sights and the scenes,
all right,
kind of been
fuck.
done all that. But they definitely taking this joint over. I remember when crackers wouldn't come past Padosa. And guess what? Bryan Street. That's the motherfucker about 7, 8 blocks down. Now they all over it. Like I said, they walking dogs, walking through the project 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. Like it ain't nothing with coffee and tea. Flip-flops and socks. No question.
I read an article in the Washington Post talking about how white people they fascinated with the hood. They like hearing gunshots and shit. It was an article in the Washington Post about that. They like being in inner city with black people with high crime areas.
Nah, facts though, but you see how the cracker street is around here though. They be trying to, fit in, get in where they fit in. You know what I mean?
Man, DC mean everything to me because at the end of the day, I got it I got it tatted on me, you know, the DC, you know, our logo symbol, whatever you want to call it. DC mean a lot to me because at the end of the day, this is the nation's most powerful city, and I'm from here. And, you know, like I said, a lot of people just know Washington, D.C. as Washington, White House, Georgetown, Capitol, you know, Monument, Tourist. But then you got D.C., and that's like Northeast, Southeast, Uptown, down the West, you feel me? Go-Go's, you feel me? All Days Madness, We Are One, Berry Farms, Summer League, Walks, you know? So it's like, D.C. mean a lot to me, man. Like I said, I'm glad I'm from here, you know what I mean? But it's like, we got our own identity, but we don't take advantage of having our own identity. You get what I'm saying? So we got to get back to them old school days when we was embracing our culture, like back in like the 80s, 90s, where we was like, you know, setting examples of fly shit, like coming out with our own brands and shit, rocking the New Balances and shit like that, you feel me? So it's like we got to get back to that, you know what I mean? Because we got our own lingo, and it's words that we say, and people be like, what that mean? What you say? So we got to get back to being original, because we already original. When, you feel me? Music been going on forever. We just gotten like the music, even though we got pioneers in music too. I'm talking about like rap music and stuff. We just like the spotlight, like is just shining a little bit more now. But that's cause we didn't give a fuck about that shit, cause we had our own shit, which was go-go. So it's like, you know, we just gotta get back to being original.
First episode, season 2. What it do? Jelly Vision, man. DC Cult.
Yeah, this is the Jelly Vision for you.
We juggin', we in the kitchen, cooking, on the block, juggin', 100 rocks, we juggin', we in the kitchen, cooking, on the block, juggin', 100 rocks, we juggin'. I got 30 pounds of loud in the trap house.
Another day in the struggle. Waking up and I'm feeling so ugly. Mad at this world that hates black girls and rapes black queens and kills black kings. Everybody else got justice, all except us. Mad at the RPG. Red for my blood, black for my pee, green for the grass underneath my feet. Mad cause they poison in the air I breathe, and the food I eat, and the fish and the sea, and the birds and the bees, and the fruit and the meat and the milk and the whole TV. See, I see mass insanity, and I'm battling for humanity. Dolphin whales and manatees, and young black minds with self-esteem, fighting not to go extinct. I hear them scream and